It means he's going to talk about something dumb for like 20 minutes. You're absolutely right, Billy. Here's a cigar. Hello, kids, and welcome. We're walking to the store to get the food thing and to get some Halloween candy, though I doubt I'll have any trick-or-treaters. But apparently it's a 3-day Halloween weekend, so you never know. If not, I'll just give the candy to my mom because she'll have trick-or-treaters. And as we have done in all the previous walks, we're going to talk about something vaguely related to Halloween. Now, I think we've done zombies. I think we've all agreed on the best and worst and stuff. So let's move on. Has encountered something. I mean, I don't know if, is the encountered, do they define as ghosts? Well, of course, we have to quantify in the terms of a game what the ghost is. Because the ghosts we're presented with from the Monster Manual are pretty just all malevolent jackasses who want to mess with you, right? The ghosts, the whites, the waits, all the spectral, intangible family tree. They all want to drain your age or your life force or whatever. None of the ghosts in D&D just want to hang out and talk. But we know from films and television and books and comic books, there are more ghosts than simply the angry ones who want to suck our souls. There's a lot of different types of ghosts. And there's a lot of different theories about what a ghost is. Some are malevolent, some are neutral, and some are even friendly, like Casper, but yeah. So first we have to quantify what we think a ghost is. And there's a couple theories. Obviously, there's the more quasi-mystical religious theory about spirits of the dead, recently departed. Unfinished business is a good one. People just don't know they're dead. One of the best theories about spooks I ever heard back when I lived in the valley in Laurel Canyon, which is filled with haunted haunts and ghost stories. And a guy who studied the ghost stories of Laurel Canyon talked about how, all this energy just gets stuck in between those mountains, like the vortexes in New Mexico and stuff, where just this energy gets stuck. Oop, spooky. Another spooky. So ghosts are just energy that got stuck, trapped inside the walls of a house, trapped inside the sides of the mountain. That energy hasn't gotten out yet, so it's just sort of stuck. Oh, here we go. Here's a good one. Another one is a ghost is like a piece of film that's just constantly on repeat. And the projector is the walls of wherever you are. That ghost is just constantly repeating a series of events or whatever for whatever. It doesn't even know that it's gone. It might not even know that it's dead. It's just stuck in this constant. I'm looking for, are you looking for spiders? No, I'm just looking for whatever I can find that's spooky. So, yeah. We have unfriendly ghosts, the D&D ghosts. We have typical ghosts, which are the ghosts that don't know they're dead or whose actions aren't aware that they're affecting the real world. And I think that's most common ghost sightings, both in real life anyways, is that there these energy sources are just doing their thing. And they have no idea that their thing is affecting the real world. They're completely unaware of us. They're just trapped in their little loop. I like the idea of, it's just trapped in a little loop. And it's just constantly walking down the same hallway, doing the same thing. But there are still stories of self-aware ghosts. A lot of people talk about how the ghost moves things in their house, turns on lights, they can hear laughter. So maybe the ghosts do have some residual personalities, or maybe ghosts are just jerks. They're just doing the stuff they do because they know it annoys the humans. Hey, let's go in the house and move all the furniture 1 foot to the right. Dude, they'll be freaked out for months. I know, right? So Whatever. That's various theories of ghosts, and we all have stories that are directly or indirectly of things we can't explain. And sometimes the things that we couldn't explain turned out to be very simple. And other times we still have a big question mark. So now let's get to the meat and bones. In terms of running a ghost story for your players in tabletop role-playing games, how to go about it. Well, the first thing I would tell you is the same advice I've been giving you guys all month and all year, is you can't force scary. They'll either react or they won't react, and you have to be okay if they're not scared. You have to be okay if the ghost story isn't working the way you thought it was working. You can't get upset if they're not getting scared. And if they are getting scared, great, bonus. But if not, that's okay. So that's probably the only lesson I would want you to take away from all this meandering of mine, is don't try and force it, whether it be comedy, horror, romance, whatever. It just happens or it doesn't, and if it doesn't happen, that's okay. The second one would be, do you tell them you're running do you tell them, hey, this is my Halloween adventure, hey, this is a ghost story, or do you not tell them and you just let it happen and let them figure it out? I am of a fan, don't tell them. You might say, hey, I'm going to do the Halloween adventure sometime this month, or you just might drop it on them and let them slowly realize this is the Halloween adventure. I'm a fan of not telling them. Ooh, I got a comment. Most of our games turn into comedy. Yes, they do, whether you like it or not. So you have to set the stage. All right, there's 3 parts to the ghost story. 1, the hints. And the hints work great cinematically, not so much when you're trying to play, you know. How do you role play, you know, that, oh, there's something being reflected in the mirror that we, the audience, see, but the players don't see. Haunting of Hill House, or Secret of Bly Manor, or House of Usher, the 3 ghost stories they did last year on Netflix. Oh my God. Brilliant the way those guys hid things in the scenes. Almost every scene there was a ghost or something hid it. And sometimes you had to watch it like 2 or 3 times to go, damn, there's a thing underneath the table. So you can't do that in role playing. I mean, the best thing you could do is you feel like you're being watched, or you think you saw something in the mirror. So any hints that you give either have to be via NPC or via the environment. All the tricks that work in a movie don't work. All the tricks in a haunted house don't work in a D&D game. You can't do a jump scare in D&D. So the hints, the first part, have to be relayed via lore. NPCs telling them they saw things, you know, stuff like that. Or the environment. Things moving in the room, weird noises that can't be explained. If a PC is alone, oh yeah, that's open season to mess with that PC, the ghost or whatever, mess with them. So that's the first, is the hints. Oh, big skeleton dog. Hello, big skeleton dog. Or so he got his leg lifted up. He's good. No, he doesn't. Okay. The second, what does the ghost want? Now, the ghost is either an active participant in the story or a passive participant in the story. Right? The active participant ghosts are the ghosts in the Monster Manual. The ghosts who are jerks, the ghosts who want to hurt you for whatever reason. They are actively pursuing the characters. They are actively letting the characters know, I am out to get you. And I can walk through walls. So that's the most common one. The second less common is the passive ghosts. The ghosts who are there just doing their thing. The PCs show up and are stuck in the middle of the thing, but after the PCs leave, the ghosts will still be doing their thing. The ghosts are not aware of the player characters. Turn to the screw, right? They're just stuck in their loop. So that's the second part, is establishing the ghost's motivation and giving the player characters a reason to want to actively interact with the ghost. Which leads to the third part of a ghost story, which is the players or the characters of the movie. What is their job in this story? And why don't they just run away? Okay. You weren't stopping for me. I thought you were stopping for me. All right. I almost became a ghost. Now, we've justified why the protagonists don't run away when we were talking about zombies, in that the progressive stupidity. The spectral energy of the ghost slowly drains common sense. And the longer you're there, the dumber your character gets, to the point where leaving seems to just become an alien thought. I can't leave, the door's locked. There's a window. That window is huge. You could pick up a chair, throw it through the window, break the window, leave. Common sense. But no, I can't leave. The door's locked. You've got an 18 strength. Knock down the door. Can't. So, progressive stupidity aside, the third part, in order to make our ghost story work, is what's the player's jobs? Is it simply kill the ghost via magic? You know, Scooby-Doo the ghost? Resolve the ghost's issues, or figure out what the ghost wants and circumvent it? And can anything the player characters do disrupt the ghost? That's always the big question with dealing with ghosts. Unless a specific set of things happen, the ghost just eventually comes back, right? We see plenty of things on TV about ghost chasers and ghost inspectors, but nobody does ghost getter rid ofs. Because, at least in our world, we accept that nothing we do can change the ghost. All we can do is try and come up with a happy medium with the ghost. So what is the player's job? What do they need to do to end the ghost story? And why don't they leave? Now, obviously, reward. Reward's the most obvious one. The nut and bolt of any role-playing game. There is a reward for ending the ghost story. The ghost has got treasure. Well, we want that. The NPCs are going to reward you. Oh, yeah, well, we want that. Whatever. Oh, look at that one. Got to go across the street for that one. I mean, it doesn't have a theme other than big. But, wow. I don't get the big things. I mean, yeah, I guess they're easier to see from the street if it's 10 feet tall as opposed to 4 feet tall, but I don't get it. I've asked, and people are like, oh, they're cool, but like, is the fact that it's 10 foot tall scarier? Is there some phobia I'm not aware of tall, spooky things? I don't get the tall things, other than, hey, they sell. Anyways, there you go. All right, back to the source. If anybody knows the answer to the mystery of the tall, hey, my tallest. Ooh, somebody has a horse. All right, so obvious reward, most obvious. You're gonna get something for dealing with the ghost. So that's the physical victory. The next is the moral, spiritual victory. You have ended the ghost's curse. You have fulfilled whatever it is the ghost needed to be fulfilled for it to pass on. You get the sensation of knowing you've accomplished something, that you've helped the spirit, and experience points, right? So, and that's it. I mean, you establish the setting, and ghost stories work best when the setting is something normal. You know, a spooky house, obvious. ghost story in a shopping mall, that's more scary because that's just the normal everyday. And we don't expect ghosts in normal everyday. Environment working against the player characters, that's another one, to help at the beginning. There's stuff going on that has nothing to do with the ghost, just because you are where you are. That weird pounding you hear in the walls, that's the pipes. Which we now get to one of the actual ghost stories from my life, where I had these friends in college who swore their house was haunted. That hear this weird pounding in the walls at night. And they couldn't figure out what it was. And then when we went and spent the night at their house, everybody heard the pounding. Everybody was like so freaked out. Oh my God, the ghost. What does the ghost want? The knock. And, this is like a topic of conversation for like a year and a half amongst these people. This pounding in the walls. Everybody was scared to go to their house. They were scared to go to their house until one day somebody comes along and tells them what it is. And it's so obvious, you're like, oh, how come we never figured that out? The pipes. The pounding noise was the pipes. And the reason why the pounding noise was random, it was because when the pipes were being used. If the pipes weren't being used, if nobody used the bathroom, no pounding. If somebody used the bathroom and only ran the sink, some pounding. If somebody used the bathroom and flushed the toilet, different kind of pounding. But all the pounding was the pipes. And once they got a plumber in there and spent a couple $1,000s to change out the pipes, the ghost went away. So that's a perfect example of, I want Kool-Aid. That's a perfect example of using the environment against the characters, and you don't need to have the ghost show up yet. You're setting the stage. You're dropping the clues. And then you have the people telling them, the lore dumps. This is a great time for lore dumps. You have the physical manifestation, things moving. And then finally you have the, what does the ghost want? And what is the player's job to help facilitate the end of the ghost? And what's the reward? Why am I doing this? Why have I not left? What do I fucking care if that apartment complex right there is haunted? Either there's some direct connection between the player characters, or there's a reward. Because, D&D is risk reward. That's the basic building block. What is my character's motivation to interact with this ghost? And once you get that, then you have your ghost story. Jennifer wrote a ghost story about a goblin mask mirror. Thank you for your ghost stories, guys. We all have a ghost story, right? Or have been told a ghost story. We all have one thing or two things that have happened in their houses that you can't explain. Unless you're me, when you have them on a regular occurrence, because I'm a weirdness magnet. So I already told you the story about the pounding. So this is another story of a event that happened to me that I cannot explain. And this is real. And this is one of the many weird things that have happened to me in my life. Because these things just seem to be attracted to me for whatever reason. So I have to go to a job interview. This is way back in Simi Valley. So first, to get from where I lived at the time to Simi Valley was a long ass bus ride to the middle of frickin' nowhere. But I take the bus, I get there, I'm following the map, and the only way to get to where I have to go is to go up this dirt path up the side of a mountain. There's no other way to get to this place. It does not have a parking lot. It does not have a road. I guess the people parked at the bottom and took the path off. That should have been my first clue that there was something weird going on about this place. So I start walking up the hill, and suddenly I realize that there are 2 dogs behind me. I have no idea where they came from. They made no noise, just suddenly 2 dogs are behind me. They never get close enough for me to see them or touch them. They always back away before I can get near them, but they never walk farther away than 10 feet. So the whole way up the hill, the dogs are following me. They follow me to the top of the hill to where the building is, and they stop. Now, I asked the guy at the front door, does he know whose dogs these are? He's never seen them. I'm there, and again, there's no way to get to this building that I can see other than this dirt road. So I go in and I have the interview, and right away you can tell there's something shifty going on. Like, the building is 90% empty. And I'm having the interview with this lady, and she's telling me, oh, this is our last day at this location. If you take the job, you'd have to move to New Mexico with us. Okay, are you going to pay for the move? No. Are you going to provide a place for me to live? No. When you offered me the interview, did you know you were moving? No, this is quite sudden. Yeah, something shifty's going on. So, thank you, but no, unless you're going to pay for me to move to New Mexico, no, I can't afford that. So, I leave, and I'm like, what the fuck? I exit. There are the dogs waiting for me. Speaking of Halloween, I walk back down the hill. Again, the dogs walk with me, always behind me, never let me get close enough to see if they have collars, but they never get farther away than 10 feet, and they walk me all the way down. Like, they want to make sure I got home safe. And I see a guy washing his car, and I ask him, does he know whose dogs those are? And he says, I've never seen them before. And I get to the beginning of the dirt path, and I step off the dirt path onto the sidewalk to pick up the bus back home, and the dogs stop. That's as far as they go. And then they turn around and walk back up the path. Now, was that supernatural? Was it some kind of spirits making sure I got there and got home safe? Because there was definitely something weird going on at that place. And I did fear for my safety the whole time I was in the interview. These people were up to something shifty. I mean, they were illegal. You know, like, I was like, should I call the cops? Whatever these guys are up to, this is not right. What is this building? But yeah, these 2 dogs, all the way up, and then all the way back down. Nobody's seen them before. Nobody knows where they came from. It was like they were there to keep me safe. I never felt scared of the dogs. I knew the dogs I was safe. And then I got on the bus and went home. And I called the people who told me about the job, the agency, and they're like, we didn't know they were moving. They didn't tell us. Oh, we're so sorry. We're so sorry. So that might not be a ghost story, but it's definitely something weird happened that I can't explain story. And that's a good way to end this vlog. So if you've got a story I can't explain for the Halloween Spooktacular, feel free to post it down below or email it to me or whatever. And if you appreciate these little walks of ours and are feeling generous, there's a lot of different ways you can support the OGGM. The best way, of course, is to take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification button so you're always made aware of what's going on. You can support me through the Ko-Fi or through Super Chats, or you could buy my merch. That's probably, get yourself a present and support me. Head on over to Drive-Thru, buy my 2 games, still on sale. Hit the link for the Only Crits dice. Get yourself some official OGGM dice. And have a safe, happy, and healthy day. And I can't wait to hear all your ghost stories. See ya.